Today, many of the services or the service providers that we use have not been paid. In plain terms, that means aircraft, patrol boats, patrol vehicles that need service, they're being parked. Border surveillance equipment that requires maintenance is offline until funding is appropriated. Our confidential human sources are not being paid, and we're at risk of losing some of our intelligence tools that help us secure the border.
Border Patrol and ICE officials testifying today in Congress at a House budget hearing as their teams continue to go without funding. The partial government shutdown now in day 61. Let's bring in Trump administration border czar Tom Homan for more on this. And I'm wondering, Tom, where is the urgency in getting funding for DHS? Congress was on a 2-week break over Easter. We didn't hear boo about this. They come back and they're still futzing around trying to get it done.
Well, they're getting paid, so they're not in a hurry. Look, I was up on Hill numerous times meeting with members of Congress, talking about what ICE does, what ICE doesn't do, what Border Patrol does and doesn't do, which is even more important. And they're trying to change the law through the appropriations process. They want to legislate things prevent ICE from doing things. They don't want to reform ICE. They say reform ICE. They want to handcuff ICE like they were the last 4 years under Joe Biden. You know, things like, well, we want body cameras. Well, we already addressed the body cameras. We're implementing nationwide. Matter of fact, the funding you're holding up is going to give us $120 million to buy more body cameras. They want to talk about sense of location. You know, can't arrest illegal aliens with sense of locations. And I responded, well, give me one instance where you arrested an alien inside of a hospital, inside of a church, or inside of elementary school. What's the problem? You can't point to one instance that happened. The only one that violated the sanctity of a church was John Lemon and his group. So, you know, they want to change the law through the appropriation, what's never been done before. If they don't like what ICE is doing, then legislate new laws and put it in federal statute, and that's what we'll do.
Tom, Sandra here, what is your warning as far as the consequences if DHS is not funded?
We're in a situation right now with what's going on in the world. We're in a heightened threat posture right now. All hands should be on deck. And Rodney Scott, CBP commissioner, we just showed him testifying. He's exactly right. A lot of what we do is done by contractors, right? We're cops. We have contractors that put surveillance balloons in the air and have this modern technology of wiretaps and T3s and all the sophisticated equipment that the big, beautiful bill bought and that we had prior to that. We have a lot of contractors to keep those things moving. You know, for instance, my security, my own security detail, their credit cards are maxed out, right? Because the travel cards aren't being paid because of shutdown. And there's agents across the country, and 20,000 men and women in ICE. They travel a lot doing these criminal investigations, and credit cards are being maxed out. So it's really putting a dent in how we're enforcing law, especially during the time of a heightened threat posture because of what's going on in the world. National security is extremely important right now. It should be a nonpartisan issue to fund the Department of Homeland Security. I don't get it.
Yeah, the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, was at that hearing earlier today, talking more about who is and who isn't getting funded. Listen to what he said.
Our critical intelligence network is a lot contract based, and we're just not able to pay for those contracts right now. Our victim advocates, victim specialists, we just don't have that. So while we always hear that ICE is flush with money, maybe for detention and removal, but not for the critical things that are actually protecting Americans every day. And one of the most vital things we do is child exploitation.
And I think a lot of people don't have the full perspective on this. Yes, there is money for ICE and CBP up until the end of 2028, but that's for enforcement and removal operations. There's a whole other set of layers to CBP and ICE that aren't being funded.
Exactly. A lot of our work is done by really smart people and contracted companies that do sophisticated stuff like targeting, right? We have partners that use, I got to be careful what I say, it's law enforcement sensitive, but they look at various databases and help us find people that don't want to be found through modern technology. But you know, that's been hamstringed because of funding. So the men and women carrying a badge and gun, they're being paid. But the people that make it possible for us to do what we do, even the mission support staff who make sure that the vehicles, the fleet's being maintained, we're getting gas in the vehicles, power's being turned on to these buildings, travel vouchers are being paid. The most important, sometimes I think the most important part of ICE are the mission support people who don't carry a badge and gun. But if they didn't do what they did, we couldn't do what we do.
I want to play out sound from Mark Wayne Mullen on all this. He joined Laura on the Ingram Angle last night. Listen.
Okay, so right now we have an issue going on with Republicans because they're having to vote for a bill that essentially funds 20 components out of 22 that I have, and the two that are separate are CPP and ICE. And they're having a problem because they say we feel like we're defunding it, but we're not. What we're doing is we're having to do it through reconciliation, so Democrats can't use it for political gains and try to shut down the government again September 30th.
Tom, how do you weigh in on that?
I agree. But look, let's do it through reconciliation. I'm sick and tired of sitting at a table, telling them, what ICE does and what we don't do. More importantly, because they think we out there separating families, we're raiding churches, and they want all these changes. They want masks off. You know what? We'll consider taking masks off when you stop going on national TV and calling ICE racist and Nazis and secret police, which raises the threat level to over 8,000%. So you know what? Let's do it through reconciliation, because I will not sit at a table and give up any authorities that ICE and CBP has to protect this nation. If you don't like, I'll say it again, if they don't like what ICE is doing, then legislate. Do your jobs and change the law. Until then, we're going to do what the President Trump was elected to do, secure the border and make this country safe again by removing criminal aliens that are in the country illegally.
Yeah, and let's not forget, too, that the funding for DHS runs well beyond ICE and CBP to the non-military people who work for the Coast Guard, Center for Cyber Security and Infrastructure, all of that. I mean, how many departments are there in DHS? Like 25 or 40, something like that. Tom, always good to talk to you. Thanks so much for being with us
Thanks,
today.
Tom.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.